The stars remembered the warships of Earth, not as symbols of peace, but as harbingers of relentless vengeance. For decades they had been the galaxy's hidden sentinel, guardians forged in fire, wielding power that could shatter worlds, and now they were coming back, not for diplomacy, not for negotiation, but for blood. Commander Lyra Harlan stood on the bridge of the UNS Dominion, the flagship of Earth's revived fleet. The cold metal beneath her boots vibrated with the pulse of engines primed for destruction. The bridge was a hive of activity, officers checking targeting systems, tactical officers monitoring enemy frequencies, and engineers fine-tuning the ion cannons that had become Earth's signature weapon. "We've waited long enough," Lyra muttered, eyes fixed on the star map projected before her. The Galactic Concord had betrayed Earth, turning former allies into enemies overnight. Treaties were broken, fleets ambushed, and diplomats executed under false flags. It was time to respond, and the warships of Earth were the galaxy's reckoning. The Dominion and its sister ships emerged from the shadow of the Sol system's outer rim, where they had lain hidden for years, refitting, rearming, and preparing to unleash a fury unlike any the galaxy had seen. Once celebrated partners in the Galactic Concord, now they were marked targets. But Earth's fleet had evolved. Their weapons burned hotter, their tactics deadlier, and their resolve unbreakable. Across the star systems that had once called Earth an ally, panic rippled like a shockwave. The news of the Earth fleet's return spread quickly, warships cloaked in ion fire cutting through space with lethal precision. Systems that had benefited from Earth's technology and trade suddenly found themselves under scrutiny. Their borders closed, their defences scrambled. In the council chambers of Zinthar Prime, once a close partner to Earth, Ambassador Threlk's hands trembled as he faced his peers. "They betrayed us, yes," he said, voice low, "but the Earth fleet's return means war, and war will consume us all if we don't act." Yet fear mingled with a grudging respect. The ion cannons, once a marvel shared with the Concord, now were weapons of destruction wielded by humanity hardened beyond recognition. On board the UNS Dominion, Commander Harlan prepared the fleet's first strike. Their mission was clear: dismantle the Concord's command centers, cripple their supply lines, and send an unmistakable message. Earth was no longer the galaxy's underdog, but its fiercest storm. "Prepare for jump," she ordered. The warp engines roared to life, the ship trembling as it slipped through the fabric of space. They emerged near the heart of the Concord's influence, the system of Calix Prime, where the Council's war room was believed to be located. The first salvo of ion fire tore through enemy defences like lightning, disabling shield arrays and ripping through command ships. The battle was brutal and swift. Earth's warships, with their superior technology and unyielding crews, struck with surgical precision, turning former allies into terrified targets. Yet, amidst the chaos, there were moments of reflection. Lieutenant Kyle Rivas, the Dominion's tactical officer, looked out from his station at the destruction unfolding in the system. "We were betrayed," he said quietly. "But at what cost? How many innocents must fall before they will remember who saved them once?" Commander Harlan's eyes met his. "We are not here to save them now. We're here to remind them why they should never have turned against us." The warships of Earth had returned, not as peacekeepers, but as storms of retribution, carrying the weight of broken oaths and the fury of a species pushed too far. As the battle raged across Calix Prime, far beyond the chaos, a new message echoed across galactic frequencies, a chilling broadcast in Earth's native tongue. "This is Earth," the voice declared, cold and resolute. "We were betrayed. We were cast down. Now we return as the reckoning. The warships of Earth are coming for blood. Stand down or be destroyed." The galaxy had no choice but to listen. The warships of Earth were back, and nothing would ever be the same. The aftermath of the first strike against Calix Prime sent shockwaves through the Galactic Concord. The Council's once unified front splintered into chaos, as Earth's declaration of war resonated like a thunderclap across star systems. The betrayal that had festered in shadows was now seared into the open. Commander Lyra Harlan stood before the Dominion's tactical displays, watching fleets scramble and systems shutter their defences in panic. Her jaw was set, her eyes sharp with resolve. They thought they could exile us, silence us, "Erase our legacy," she said to her executive officer, Major Jarek Thane. "They underestimated humanity's will and our fire." Jarek, a veteran of Earth's covert wars, nodded grimly. "They never understood what it means to fight for survival. We've been tempered in the fires of betrayal. Now we're the storm they can't outrun." Across the fractured galaxy, reactions varied. Some who had once stood as Earth's staunchest allies scrambled to distance themselves. Zinthar Prime fortified its borders, dispatching fleets to protect its worlds. The Ardecan Coalition, a massive political military bloc that had benefited from Earth's advanced tech, issued cautious statements of neutrality, though their armadas quietly readied for war. Yet, beneath the surface, whispers spread. Grudging admiration for Earth's raw determination, fear of the warship's power, and questions about whether the old alliances could ever be restored. Deep within the Galactic Concorde's shattered command hub on Celestis Station, High Chancellor Varin confronted his generals. The station's corridors hummed with tension, alarms echoing as Earth's fleets closed in. "We failed them," Varin admitted bitterly, voice low and pained. "Our councils broke our promises, our spies betrayed their trust. We allowed the rot to fester. Now, Earth returns, not to negotiate, but to annihilate." General Sarek slammed a fist on the table. "Then we fight. We will not cower. If Earth wants war, we give it to them, but on our terms." Varin's eyes narrowed. "The warships of Earth have evolved. Their ion fire is unlike anything we've faced. We must adapt, or be consumed." Meanwhile, aboard the UNS Dominion, Commander Harlan prepared her crews for the next assault. Reconnaissance had revealed key strategic targets, supply depots, communication arrays, and weapon manufacturing plants scattered across the Concorde's outer systems. "These strikes won't just cripple their infrastructure," Harlan told her officers. "They'll remind every system what happens when you betray Earth. We fight for every scar on our past, for every fallen comrade, for the future we claim." The fleet's ion cannons charged, their hum resonating like the heartbeat of war itself. Ships surged forward, slipping into enemy territory with ruthless precision. Among the fleet's pilots was Lieutenant Zara Kess, a former civilian engineer turned ace fighter. Her ship, the Vigilant, darted through enemy lines, weaving through volleys of plasma and missile fire. Her comm crackled with the voice of her wingman. "Vigilant, you're clear. Engage the target." Zara's fingers danced across the controls. "Let's show them what Earth's wrath looks like." With a burst of ion fire, her weapons struck a key weapons platform, silencing it in a flash of molten metal. The battlefield erupted in chaos as the Concorde's defences faltered. But even as Earth's warships carved a path of destruction, darker threats loomed. The Veilborn, shadowy mercenaries and saboteurs long lurking in the galaxy's forgotten corners, saw opportunity in the chaos. Their agents infiltrated both sides, sowing discord, hacking systems, and unleashing guerrilla strikes to deepen the conflict. Kareen, a Veilborn tactician, observed from her hidden enclave, "Earth's fire has ignited the powder keg. The galaxy fractures, and we will feed on its ashes." Yet, even within the Veilborn, not all shared her vision. Some longed for a future beyond endless war, drawn by the possibility that humanity's return might reshape the stars in unexpected ways. Back aboard the Dominion, Commander Harlan felt the weight of the war upon her shoulders. Every victory came with a price. Every system destroyed was a reminder of the fragile thread humanity now walked. Late one cycle, she stood alone on the observation deck, gazing into the abyss of stars. Her voice was a whisper. "We were betrayed, hunted, abandoned, but we survive. And now, we burn brighter than ever." Her gaze hardened. "They made us targets, but we will be their reckoning." The war was no longer a distant threat whispered in shadowed halls. It had ignited into a blazing inferno, consuming star systems and shattering old alliances. The warships of Earth, once silent watchers, were now the galaxy's fiercest storm. Their return was written in ion fire and blood. Commander Lyra Harlan paced the bridge of the UNS Dominion as the ship's sensors detected an incoming fleet. The flagship's hull thrummed with power, ion cannons charged and ready to strike. The enemy was a coalition fleet drawn from former allies, Zinthar, Ardecan, and fractured Concorde remnants, determined to halt Earth's relentless advance. "Enemy fleet inbound, bearing 6 capital ships and dozens of escorts," reported Tactical Officer Kale Rivas, eyes flicking across multiple holographic displays. They're coordinating a pincer maneuver. We'll be caught in the crossfire if we don't act fast. Lyra's voice was cold and steady. Divert power to shields and ion cannons. Prepare countermeasures for plasma and missile barrages. We fight to remind them why Earth's wrath is legend. The bridge erupted into focused activity, every crew member a vital part of the machine of war. The battlefield near the system of Dravos was a chaotic storm of light and fire. The Dominion and its sister ships cut through enemy lines like a scythe, ion blasts tearing through hulls and disrupting shields. Fighters swarmed the capital ships, their pilots engaged in frantic dogfights against our Deacon and Zinthar squadrons. Lieutenant Zara Kess led her wing with precision, her vigilant weaving through volleys of enemy fire. "Target the lead frigate," she commanded. Her ion cannons flared, striking the ship's propulsion system and sending it spiralling into the void. But the enemy was fierce and coordinated. Our Deccan's flagship, the Valkor, unleashed a devastating plasma storm, forcing the Dominion to divert precious power to shields. In the heat of battle, communications from Earth's command shattered the tense silence across the network. "This is Earth Command," Admiral Vargas's voice boomed across all channels. "To those who betrayed us, you turned your backs when we needed allies. You hunted our people and shattered our homes. Now, the warships of Earth return, not as diplomats, but as executioners. This is your last warning. Surrender or be destroyed." The message sent a chill through the Coalition fleet. Morale wavered as the reminder of Earth's fury sank in. Yet amid the destruction, not all voices called for endless war. Within the Zinthar fleet, Captain Marek Solan struggled against orders from his superiors. "We were once allies," he argued bitterly, over encrypted channels with the Ardeccan commanders. "This war will only destroy everything we fought to build. There has to be another way." But the call for restraint was drowned in the roar of battle. Old grievances and fear blinded the Coalition's leaders to the possibility of peace. Back aboard the Dominion, Kyle Rivas detected an unexpected signal, a coded distress call from a covert Concord research station on a nearby moon. "Commander," Kyle said, urgency in his voice, "we've intercepted a transmission. It's a distress call from a Concord lab developing advanced plasma disruptors, technology that could neutralize our ion weapons." Lyra's face tightened. "If they succeed, it could turn the tide against us. We need that lab neutralized before they deploy those weapons." The fleet changed course, racing against time to strike before the threat became reality. As Earth's warships tore into the moon's defenses, fierce ground battles erupted. Troopers deployed in armoured suits fought alongside assault bots against Concord security forces, desperate to protect their secrets. Mira Kessler, Earth's chief technology officer, monitored the mission from the Dominion. "Their plasma disruptors could cripple our advantage," she explained to Lyra. "If we lose ion fire superiority, we lose everything." The battle was brutal. Ion blasts tore through bunkers, while enemy plasma turrets scorched the advancing Earth forces. But humanity's tenacity and advanced tech prevailed. The lab was destroyed, its secrets reduced to molten ruins. Amid the firestorm of war, a quieter struggle unfolded, a battle for hearts and minds. Human diplomats and cultural envoys, escorted by warships, sought to sway neutral systems to Earth's side, sharing stories of betrayal and survival. At a remote system called Raradani Safuri, Ambassador Vera Nal met with skeptical planetary leaders. "We fight because we must," she told them, "but our goal is not conquest. We seek a future where humanity and its former allies rebuild trust. But first, we must face the truth of betrayal." Her words stirred uneasy hope, planting seeds of resistance against endless conflict. Yet the galaxy was changing. The warships of Earth were no longer just instruments of vengeance. They were symbols of a people refusing to be erased, a relentless storm reshaping the stars. As the battle near Dravos reached its climax, Commander Harlan knew this war would define humanity's place in the galaxy. "We fight not just for revenge," she said quietly, eyes blazing. "We fight for our right to exist, and to reclaim our honor. The warships of Earth are back, and we will not be stopped." The war stretched deeper into the void, a blazing conflict that consumed star systems and fractured alliances. The warships of Earth, once silent sentinels, had transformed into the galaxy's fiercest storm, unrelenting, unyielding. But as the battles raged, cracks began to show, not in Earth's resolve, but in the fractured unity of their enemies. Commander Lyra Harlan stood on the UNS Dominion's bridge, eyes fixed on the tactical display. The recent engagement at Dravos had left the enemy coalition reeling, their fleets fragmented and their confidence shaken. But this war was far from over. Reports streamed in. Some systems on the fence were reconsidering their allegiances, others whispered of rebellion within the Concorde's ranks. "Lieutenant Rivas, any word on neutral systems?" Lyra asked, voice calm but sharp. Kyle Rivas tapped the interface, bringing up encrypted transmissions. Eridani V has pledged conditional support to Earth's cause. Their council fears being caught in the crossfire, but recognizes our strength and commitment. Several smaller systems, Meraxis, Volin and Kira Prime, are showing signs of defection. Lyra nodded thoughtfully. The message is spreading. Our fire is not just destruction, it's a beacon. In the halls of Celestis Station, the once mighty heart of the Galactic Concorde, High Chancellor Varin grappled with the crumbling loyalties of his own people. The heavy weight of betrayal he had tried to deny now pressed down like a crushing star. "We are losing the will to fight," Varin admitted in a secret meeting with his closest generals. "If the coalition fractures further, our enemies will overwhelm us. We must find a new way." General Sarek's voice was hard-edged. "Then we must strike harder. Earth's warships are a threat unlike any we've faced. We cannot allow them to grow stronger." Varin's eyes, haunted by the war's devastation, held a flicker of doubt. If we continue this path, there may be no Concorde left to save. Meanwhile, on the front lines, Lieutenant Zarakes led a daring raid on a heavily fortified supply hub in the Meraxis system. Her fighter darted through ion storms and laser fire, striking with precision and speed. "Vigilant, you're clear," her wingman reported. "Target locked on the fuel depot." Zara's ion cannons flared, igniting the depot in a cascade of fire that illuminated the void. The explosion shattered the enemy's supply lines, crippling their ability to resupply frontline forces. Back on the Dominion, Commander Harlan watched the raid's success with satisfaction. "Cutting their supply lines is the key to breaking their hold on the outer systems," she said. "We need to keep this pressure." Yet not all the victories were so clear-cut. On the neutral world of Shira Prime, Earth's diplomatic envoy faced a hostile council, unwilling to choose sides openly. Ambassador Vera Nal stood firm, her words a mix of warning and hope. "The warships of Earth are not just weapons," she said. "We fight because we were betrayed, because we survived. Join us, or risk being consumed by a conflict that spares no one." Her words stirred uneasy debates and protests, but also quiet conversations behind closed doors. In war, even the smallest shifts in allegiance could tip the scales. Far from the battlefront, the Veilborn watched the unfolding chaos with growing unease. Kareen, their tactician and shadowmaster, realized that the warships of Earth were changing the game. "They burn with a fire born from pain and betrayal," she mused to her council. "Their wrath is terrible, but so is their hope. We must decide, do we fan the flames of war or seek a new path?" A faction of Veilborn, long content to manipulate from the shadows, began to consider alliances of their own, not with chaos, but with the storm of humanity. As Earth's fleet pressed onward, they uncovered a startling discovery, an abandoned Concorde research station on the edge of the Zinthar system. Inside, Dr. Mira Kessler and her team found advanced technology capable of amplifying ion weapons to unprecedented levels. "This could turn the tide," Mira said, her voice filled with awe. "If we adapt this tech, we could break through even the toughest defenses." Commander Harlan considered the implications. "Prepare for integration. We'll need every advantage we can get." But with every gain came sacrifice. The warships of Earth bore scars, ships lost in battle, crews mourning comrades, and the heavy toll of endless conflict. One night, Lyra stood alone on the observation deck, staring into the swirling stars. The galaxy was changing beneath her feet, fractured, battered, but no longer silent. "We were betrayed," she whispered, "but we are not broken. We are fire, burning through the darkness, and soon the stars will burn for us." The war had stretched across the galaxy like a consuming blaze, burning through star systems and testing the will of every faction. Yet, now, as the warships of Earth prepared for their final strike, the true weight of betrayal and vengeance settled heavily on Commander Lyra Harlan's shoulders. The moment of reckoning was upon them. The Yuan's Dominion floated at the edge of the Andros system, the last major stronghold of the fractured Galactic Concord. Intelligence reports confirmed that the High Chancellor Varron had rallied his remaining forces here, desperate to maintain the remnants of his power and stem the tide of Earth's advance. Lyra surveyed the battlefield from the bridge, the swirling stars framed by the massive viewport. "This is where it ends," she said softly. "We fight not just for revenge, but to forge a future where betrayal no longer defines us." The fleet's ion cannons hummed with electric fury as the warships moved into position. Lyra's voice carried calm authority across the comms. "All hands, prepare for final engagement. Target the Concord's command nexus and supply lines. We leave nothing standing." The enemy fleet, a ragged assembly of battered cruisers and desperate fighters, bristled with plasma turrets and missile batteries, but their morale was low, fractured by months of defeat and the loss of key allies. As the first salvo erupted, the battle ignited into a tempest of light and destruction. Ion fire streaked across the void, piercing shields and rending hulls. Explosions blossomed like deadly stars, consuming Concord vessels one by one. Lieutenant Zara Kess led a squadron deep into enemy lines, weaving through debris and plasma storms. "Keep tight formation," she urged. "Focus on the command frigate. We take it down, the rest will scatter." Her wings unleashed concentrated ion blasts, disabling the ship's weapon systems and crippling its engines. The Concorde flagship faltered, a beacon of hope turning into a dying ember. Back on the Dominion, Lyra tracked the battle with unyielding focus. But the war's cost was evident. The loss of ships and lives weighed heavily on every officer and crew member. Still, they pressed on, united in purpose. Amidst the chaos, a surprise transmission broke through the static. It was Ambassador Vera Nal broadcasting a message of peace and warning. "To those who survive this war," her voice echoed through every channel, "know this. Betrayal was our darkest hour, but not our fate. Let this be the last war born of deceit. Let us build a future forged in trust and unity, not bloodshed." Her words cut through the noise, a fragile hope amid the devastation. But the final act was far from over. High Chancellor Varron, cornered and desperate, activated a hidden doomsday device beneath Andros Prime, an ancient weapon capable of obliterating entire star systems. It was his final gambit. If he could not hold power, he would burn the galaxy in his fury. Lyra's sensors detected the build-up. "We have minutes before the device reaches critical mass," she reported. "We need to shut it down, now." A covert strike team led by Kyle Rivas was dispatched to infiltrate the facility. Their mission was perilous: navigate through enemy lines, bypass security, and disable the weapon before it destroyed everything. Kale's team landed on the scorched surface of Andros Prime, the air thick with smoke and ash. They fought through waves of loyalist soldiers, every step a battle. "This is for Earth," Kyle said grimly as they breached the Doomsday Chamber. Working with surgical precision, they hacked the core systems, racing against the countdown. Seconds ticked away in agonizing silence before the device powered down, its threat neutralized. Back on the Dominion, the battle's tide turned. With the Doomsday weapon disabled, Earth's fleet pushed forward, overwhelming the last pockets of resistance. High Chancellor Varron's forces disintegrated, the warships of Earth claiming victory through fire and steel. As the stars settled into uneasy silence, Lyra addressed her fleet and the galaxy beyond. "We came back as targets, forged in betrayal. We return as the Reckoning, the storm that cleansed the darkness. Let this war end with the promise that we will never be betrayed again. Earth's warships are no longer just instruments of destruction, they are the guardians of a new dawn." Her voice echoed across comm channels, a solemn vow and a beacon of hope. In the weeks that followed, the fractured Galactic Concord began to rebuild, reshaped by the lessons of war and the undeniable strength of humanity's return. New alliances formed, tentative and cautious, but grounded in the mutual respect forged in fire. Lyra watched the rising sun from the Dominion's bridge, her thoughts heavy but hopeful. The galaxy was wounded, but not broken. "We will carry the scars of betrayal," she said quietly, "but also the fire of resilience. The warships of Earth have returned for blood, but we will stay for peace,